This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. When life gets challenging, it can be difficult to stay in problem-solving mode. Instead of focusing on the negative, talking with a therapist can help you stay on higher ground. Visit BetterHelp.com/super and learn to focus on the positive. Hey brother! Why does Dumbledore trust Hagrid so much? All throughout Harry Potter, we witness Dumbledore having unshaking faith in certain characters. And at times, it is to the utter annoyance of the other characters, like whenever it's to do with Snape. Dumbledore alone knows Snape's full story though, and is therefore unwavering in his trust of him. But Snape, for his own reasons, didn't want his underlying intentions or motivations shared with anyone. Ever. My word, Severus, that I shall never reveal the best of you? Dumbledore sighed, looking down into Snape's ferocious, anguished face. If you insist. And as such, not even Dumbledore's closest confidants, like McGonagall, know the real reason he trusts Snape. But then Snape is also like a former dark wizard who works in a dungeon and floats around like he's a giant bat all the time, so he kind of invites a lot of questions, you know? He's not exactly a bow-truckle leg-tying, unicorn-comforting, hippogriff-taming, only known person to raise a flock of thestrals, dragon-loving sweetheart like Hagrid is.
Oh, bless him, look, it knows his mummy.
The main reason people ever seem to question Dumbledore about why he trusts Hagrid is just because Hagrid's kind of like maybe big and like a little clumsy.
Sorry about that.
We of course all know that Hagrid was expelled during his third year after being framed for opening the Chamber of Secrets, and that upon being expelled his wand is snapped in half and he's only allowed to be kept on as groundskeeper at Hogwarts due to Dumbledore's intervention. A role he gladly accepts and works with pride for the next 50 plus years, accumulating God knows how many galleons. Full video by clicking the card. Gotta say though, love the work ethic on Hagrid. I mean, 50 plus years before he finally gets a promotion, and I mean, by all accounts, that promotion seems to include all of the responsibilities of his former job. I mean, you don't see McGonagall out there lugging in trees to the Great Hall for the big Christmas feast, which has like 13 people at it annually. Of course, I guess if the other professors did it, they just use magic. Which, to that end though, why don't they just use magic? Why do they make Hagrid drag it in? Rude? Whatever. The point is, Dumbledore trusts Hagrid to drag those trees in, and arguably even more important tasks like, I don't know, collecting the chosen one from the wreckage of the Potter's house hours after the world's darkest wizard tried to murder him as a baby? Casual. The question has never been, why does Hagrid trust Dumbledore? It has always been the other way around. What happened that allows Dumbledore to trust Hagrid so much? Today, we find out. Hey, brother! Guys, before we dive on into today's video, we need to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Stamps.com. Guys, 2022 feels like it has evaporated right before my eyes, and like it always does, the holiday season is quickly sneaking up on me. It always feels like the months from October to December just go really fast, and having extra time to prepare for all of the holiday chaos would be really helpful, especially if you're a small business owner and know just how important it is to be ready for the holiday season. Luckily though, Stamps.com has everything you need so that you can start getting ahead before you fall behind. Stamps.com is your one-stop shop for all of your shipping and mailing needs. You can get access to USPS and UPS right from your computer. Plus, with inflation on the rise, every dollar counts, which is why it's great that Stamps.com has discounts that aren't available anywhere else, like up to 86% off UPS rates. Trust me, future you will thank present you if you can get ahead of all that holiday chaos this year. So get started today, head on over to Stamps.com. And if you sign up with promo code SuperCarlin, you'll get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and free digital scale with no long-term commitments or contracts. Just head to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter promo code SuperCarlin. Link in the description down below. Okay, so right out of the gate, I mean, like, I'd trust Hagrid. I mean, he's basically the best. But then at the same time, during Harry's first year, he sort of let slip like a lot of really important information he's not supposed to.
Shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have told you that. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. I shouldn't have told you that. I should not have told you that.
Plus, he also gambles his way into the ownership of a very illegal dragon's egg, which he then shows to 11-year-olds.
No more questions.
Not to mention, part of that deal was giving away information about how to get past Fluffy, which could have resulted in the return of Voldemort. Well, I mean, let's back of the head face it. Voldemort was never getting past that mirror. That could have been the only obstacle, but Hagrid didn't know that. Then in Harry's 4th year, he again illegally breeds into creation blast-ended scroots, which like, hey, happy accident, the Department of Magical Games and Sports decided to use the scroots for the third task. Woo! But also, it is definitely very illegal to just make blast-ended scroots, and at some point also involved the mating of a fire crab, which I'll remind you actually looks more like a small turtle, with this, a manticore. Like, why did Hagrid think that this would work? And also, follow-up question, how did it work? And follow-up question, what happened to the manticore? This is the real reason Aragog's family suddenly turns on Hagrid. They're like, yeah, you put a manticore in the forest, bruh. My point is that despite Hagrid's exceedingly good nature, he's also prone to poor decision-making at times, which calls into question Dumbledore's inexplicable trust of him. I mean, we already mentioned that he trusted Hagrid to retrieve Harry from the wreckage of the Potter house, and we know that at that time, Dumbledore already knows the prophecy and just how important Harry actually is. Also trusts Hagrid to retrieve Harry from the Dursleys when it's time to come to Hogwarts.
You're a wizard, Harry.
He gives him the Potter's Gringotts vault key. He allows him to teach generations of students at the school, and even trust him to recruit giants to the good side when they previously were aligned with Voldemort. Like, that's a pretty big deal. That's a huge swing in the battle. Not to mention, I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier, he is allowed to handle the Philosopher's Stone itself. Which, to be fair, even though it feels like lifting the stone off Hagrid would be totally a breeze, it's not until it's actually under like several layers of protection at Hogwarts that it's actually almost stolen. Actually, for that matter, Hagrid's doing a better job than Gringotts itself, because the same vault is broken into literally later that day. Hagrid's all like, no place safer than Gringotts, except maybe Hogwarts, or my coat. Like, they constantly say the coat is made out of mole skin, but I'm thinking it's made out of moke skin, the same kind of pouch he gives Harry to keep his valuables in, where only the person who owns the pouch can retrieve the valuables out. Honestly, it begs the question though, what kind of magical creature is a moke? Also, if it's not a moke, then how many moles went into making Hagrid's coat? I mean, moles are small and Hagrid's big. Either way, Hagrid clearly knows his way around magical beasts, which I think is a really great starting point for us. Because, as I'm sure you've noticed, the current line of movies being produced by Wizarding World is literally called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, or as we like to call it, Fabatchfla. And while Fantastic Beasts starts in 1927, it is pretty clearly barreling towards the big legendary duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, which we know that Dumbledore wins and where he becomes the master of the Elder Wand. And that duel in particular is really important as it pertains to Hagrid, because we know from Dumbledore's chocolate frog card that the duel takes place in 1945. And we know that Hagrid was expelled from Hogwarts 50 years prior to Chamber of Secrets, which takes place in 1992, so math, that's 1942. Which crazily means that Tom Riddle has actually already made at least his first Horcrux out of the diary before Grindelwald is even defeated. And that movie canon Jude Law had better have this magnificent beard by the time the final movie rolls around. Just saying. Anyway, math, that means Hagrid has been expelled for 3 years by the time the big legendary duel finally rolls around. And even back then, when Hagrid was expelled, he is already known for being attracted to really monstrous beasts. Because don't forget, the very reason he was able to be framed for the killing of Moaning Myrtle was because he was already housing Aragog the Acromantula inside the castle at the same time. Which guy would you say it like that? I mean, yes, Hagrid is wrongly accused of murder, but like, he probably should have had that spider in there, man. But that is all important because we know Dumbledore is the one who allows Hagrid to stay on as gamekeeper, and he'll have had that job for 3 years by the time Dumbledore is going to fight Grindelwald in a movie series called Fantastic Beasts. So in some way, shape, or form, it almost absolutely has to mean that Hagrid is going to show up in the Fantastic Beasts movies and save Dumbledore's life by use of some fantastic beast. Or else Dumbledore gives Hagrid some sort of do or die job, like, I'm going off into battle, I'm gonna lose unless you do this sort of thing. So like, it's possible Dumbledore has to walk into battle not knowing for sure whether or not Hagrid actually did do the thing. thing, but just has to trust him. And it's all pretty interesting because Hagrid's already a half giant who's been wrongfully expelled from school and had his wand snapped in half. And Grindelwald himself is already really charming and manipulative. He's already stirring crowds into believing some pretty dangerous viewpoints. So it would not surprise me at all if he had some really big, nice sounding offer for Hagrid for him to turn on Dumbledore. Maybe there's something Hagrid shouldn't tell Grindelwald about Dumbledore and won't.
I shouldn't have said that.
And I'm not gonna.
That's top secret.
But whatever the case may be, all the signs point to Hagrid saving Dumbledore's life in some way, shape, or form. And for all we know, he already has, possibly several times. But the other big thing that almost for sure means Hagrid is going to help Dumbledore in this fight is that for as long as we've known Hagrid, his wand has been fully intact and concealed inside his pink umbrella. True, he does tell Ollivander, yes, they did. I've still got the pieces though. But you don't use them. Oh, no, sir, said Hagrid quickly. Harry noticed he gripped his pink umbrella very tightly as he spoke. Still got the pieces, plural, you say, Hagrid? Like, I'm sorry, but we've seen in Harry Potter wands that have been broken try to work and they just don't. Ron's wand all through Chamber of Secrets is spellotaped back together and it never functions properly. Harry's wand gets smashed in Deathly Hallows, and even though Hermione tries to repair it with magic, it never works again. That is until Harry himself is able to repair the wand by using the Elder Wand, which, as I'm sure you are aware, is the very wand Dumbledore wins from Grindelwald in the duel in question. Wouldn't it be a truly grand repayment and thanks by Dumbledore to Hagrid to repair Hagrid's wand with the Elder Wand? It's really the only explanation for how Hagrid's wand is able to work over and over and over again with no issues. Especially when you consider the reality that Hagrid never actually finished his formal education. He only got up to about 2.5 years before he was expelled 50 years ago. And yet, whenever Hagrid knows a spell, it works. He's able to start fires, he turns Dudley into a pig, he can make the small boat go faster, he engorges pumpkins. And you're telling me that Hagrid is doing this with a broken wand, minimal education, and no accidents? No. I think Dumbledore decided to trust Hagrid in a moment where Hagrid had nothing else to gain. He could have turned his back on Dumbledore, but he didn't. Even going back to Rita Skeeter's book, The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore, it says, all I'll say is don't be so sure there really was the spectacular duel of legend. After they've read my book, people may be forced to conclude that Grindelwald simply conjured a white handkerchief from the end of his wand and came quietly. That means, though, that Dumbledore was going into a battle against one of the darkest wizards who ever lived and somehow walks away the master of the Elder Wand. And for that to be true, it means Grindelwald had to be the master in the first place, meaning it was unbeatable, meaning he couldn't lose, and yet he doesn't even try? All that, of course, is assuming Rita Skeeter can be trusted in this situation, which it pains me to do, but it does seem like most of the information she gathered on Dumbledore, no matter how she skewed it, was still true. But what it means is that whatever Hagrid's role was in helping Dumbledore against Grindelwald, it was so significant that Grindelwald felt that even with the Elder Wand, he shouldn't even try. And as a result, Hagrid earned Dumbledore's undying faith and trust. A sentiment Dumbledore backed by using his newly won Elder Wand to do one of the truly remarkable bits of magic we know it capable of doing, repairing Hagrid's wand. And they've been best buds ever since. The end! The thing is, it actually works as an umbrella. But Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what do you think? Will Hagrid help Dumbledore defeat Grindelwald? Is that why Hagrid's wand is truly repaired? Let me know all of your thoughts in the towel section down below. And guys, as ever, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Harry Potter action from us. If you want to see how Hagrid is actually super rich, you can check out this video right here. But otherwise, Ben, until next time, I will see you in another life.